Hey, second year students, how's it going? Do you like traveling or would you like to travel? Today I'm going to tell you about a city I visited in another country, and the language that we're going to look at today is from Unit 10, okay? Defining relative clauses using which or who or that or where, okay? All right, I hope you enjoy the lesson. Hey, here is a task for you. Describe a city you have visited. Talk for 1 to 2 minutes and consider the following questions in your answer. Okay, I'm going to be the student. Okay, I'm going to time 2 minutes and I want you to listen for my answers to these four questions. Okay, number one, where was it? Two, when did you go there? Three, why did you like it? And four, what areas of the city are the most attractive? Okay, I'm timing 2 minutes. So remember, listen for the answers for those four questions, my answers. Okay, here we go. I'm going to talk to you about Salamanca. Salamanca is a city in the west of Spain, and I went there in around 2001, just before I went for my year abroad at a Spanish university. And I'm going to tell you why I love this city. Okay, it's a city which is very popular for foreigners who want to learn Spanish. It's a place where young people can have a great time because of all the great bars and fantastic nightlife. And also, it's a city which is rich in history and culture. There are some beautiful places. I think in general, it's a really nice city. But I have to say there is a large main square, right? That is the probably one of the most beautiful squares in Spain. It's called La Plaza Mayor. A lot of Spanish cities have these, but the one in Salamanca is particularly special. And well, other places that I can talk about in the city, if you want to go for a night out eating tapas. So tapas is a typical cultural phenomena in phenomenon in Spain where you go to a bar, you buy something to drink, and then they serve you a small plate of food, a snack, and that's called tapas. And there's a street in Salamanca called Van Dyke, and that has really good tapas and not at all expensive. Okay, so go there. And as I said, in general, I really love Salamanca because you can have a great time. I met a lot of other foreign students at the school where I studied Spanish, and we went out every night and had a fantastic time. Okay, how did you do with those questions? Question number one, where was it? So it was Salamanca in the west of Spain. Okay. Question number two, when did you go there? So I went there in around 2001. Okay. And question three, why did you like it? Well, I said that it's a great city for for young people. Okay, so young people can have a great time. There is really good nightlife. Okay, and question four, which areas are the most attractive? So mainly, I said that the most attractive part of Salamanca is the Plaza Mayor. So that's the main square of the city. Okay. Okay, so now let's focus on the language that I used in my talk, particularly defining relative clauses. Okay, so what are defining relative clauses? Well, they explain exactly who or what we are talking about. Okay, so to form a relative clause, you need a relative pronoun and a clause. Okay, and for the relative pronouns, for people, we use who or that. For example, in my talk, I said Salamanca is a favorite destination for foreign students who want to learn Spanish. Or you could say that want to learn Spanish. Okay, so who or that is, as I said, the relative pronoun that we use for people. Okay, in this case, the people are the foreign students. Okay, and that, so who or that is the relative pronoun, and want to learn Spanish, that completes the relative clause. Okay, just missed one. Okay, and what about which? So the pronoun which or that is used for things. Okay, so in my talk I said Salamanca is a city which is rich in history. Okay, or I could say Salamanca is a city that is rich in history. Okay, so here the thing is a city. Okay, and is rich in history, that completes the relative clause. The pronoun is which or that. Okay, finally, let's look at where. So we use where in a relative clause to talk about a place. Okay, now in the relative clause, where substitutes, replaces there. Okay, so take a look at this. If we use two phrases, Salamanca is a place, young people can have a great time there, right? So in Salamanca. Now, if we then combine those two into the relative clause, we get Salamanca is a place where young people can have a great time. So the where replaces there. And young people can have a great time. That's the rest of the relative clause. The relative pronoun is where. Okay, so where is the relative pronoun to talk about a place. Okay, so it's time to practice. Okay, here is an exercise for you. Can you fill in the gaps with who, that, where, or which? Sometimes more than one answer is possible. Okay, for example, there is a main square. Okay, this main square is one of the most beautiful in Spain. So this thing is one of the most beautiful in Spain. So for things, we can use that or which. Okay, so you have the option of either of these two relative pronouns. Okay, so there's a main square that is the most beautiful in Spain, or there is a main square which is one of the most beautiful in Spain. Okay, so pause the video and do the same for 1 to 4, and then we'll check together in 3 to 4 minutes. Okay? Okay, how did you do? Number 1, Van Dyke Street is a place you can get good cheap tapas. Okay, so think about this. You can get good cheap tapas there, right, on Van Dyke Street. And we replace there with where. Okay, so here you need to use the relative pronoun where. And then the rest of the relative clause is you can get good cheap tapas. Okay. Number 2, I remember seeing groups of students sang old university songs. That's the La Tuna in Salamanca. Famous students who sing famous groups of old students. Sorry, famous groups of students who sing old university songs. Okay. Okay. So groups of students are people. With people, we can use the relative pronoun who or that. Okay. So we have, I remember seeing groups of students who or that, and then the rest of the relative clause sang old university songs. Number 3, there is a higher education institution is the oldest in the Hispanic world. Okay, yeah, that's the University of Salamanca. Okay, so this thing, right, is the oldest in the Hispanic world. Okay, so again, we need either which or that. And then the rest of the relative clause is the oldest in the Hispanic world. Okay, finally, I had classmates were from a lot of different countries. Okay, so classmates are people. So again, who or that, either of those relative pronouns, and then the rest of the relative clause. Oops, I'm just going to move myself up. The rest of the relative clause were from a lot of different countries. And there you go. Okay, students, that's it for today. So today you learned about defining relative clauses, which, where, who, that, related to Unit 10 of Global Pre-Intermediate Coursebook. Okay, I hope you found that useful. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.